Hey y'all. Well, I can't be so dynamic. Dan Marino and his dynamic wife. Welcome back to the farmstead, where we stead. And I wanted to show you a little bit of an update on what I did for some water catchment. I had an idea, and it's been working really well. So I just kind of wanted to share it with you. We have 2 mineral totes here. You would be very amazed at how much water comes off this roof just from the morning dew. So all I did was we had a couple mineral totes. I shortened this downspout, had it drop out here, dropped into this mineral tote. I cocked it on an angle, drilled a couple 1/2-inch holes in it so that it would cascade, because this will fill up. When it's raining down here, this will fill up in like 5 minutes or whatever. I had it cascade down to here, to this one. I leveled it out, so I'm double catching rain. But what it does perfectly, it works excellent with my tree pots and my little baskets. One, it keeps the water here by my grow station so that I'm much more likely I can water things quicker. Now you can see we're on a stinking needs to rain. These are usually full. These are both less than halfway. We just need some rain. So we're gonna pray for more rain. We got a little bit the other day. We might have some in a couple days here. But what I do is my 4-inch tree pot basket, I can put a rack in that top bin, let it soak, so that way they hydrate from the bottom and it's better on the soil and actually on the tree. Then I had this scrap piece of cedar that the boys milled up. I take my basket, I set it on there, I let it drain so I'm not wasting a bunch of water. And then I put it back on my little grow table deal there. And we got lots of awesome cool stuff growing that'll hopefully be on the website. So I wanted to show you all that. And then the second thing I wanted to show you today is I'm trying a new grafting technique, and I just wanted to kind of show you how it worked and see if I can get it to work or whatever. The other thing I want to show you is my my tool belt here. I can kind of show you my tool belt goodies. So I have a Frankenberry. This is my Frankenberry. This is my Mulberry tree that I got a bunch of grafts on. So I want to update you. I can show you a lot of different cool stuff here. I have an enormous amount of grafts on here that have failed for whatever reason. You know, the one thing when you're grafting, you always have to be careful of disease and transferring disease. So always spray everything down with peroxide. So that can be, a lot of guys wear rubber gloves just for that reason, so that they're not transferring disease. Homie don't got time for that. If I was working with something that was real expensive, I may probably do that or whatever. There are macache. I have all kind of grafts that have failed in here. That's a failed graft, it's still on there. That's a failed graft, it's totally gone. I've done them the exact same way as the successful grafts. There is an H graft up there that's successful. There's some different grafts that have died maybe, or maybe they're still alive. Maybe that bud will come back, it's there, it's intact. So we're experimenting, you know, we're trying and failing and adjusting. I have 2 grafts that were very successful. I have another graft that was here. I already lifted it off the tree. I bud grafted Miss Kim and it took, so now I'm using a sphagnum moss this time. This is just an experiment in my Tupperware container. And I'm gonna lift this one off once it roots out. And then I have a white pack. I have a white Pakistani. And so I'm gonna lift this off. But over here, I left 2 buds that are below my air layer. So even when I take this off, the graft will still be on the tree. It'll still have this variety. So, okay, so that's just some adventures in grafting. I'm gonna show you my tool bag here. One thing I did, and this isn't an expensive grafting knife, but I got a grafting knife. I really like the blade. I don't like it, it moves real hard. Well, the more I use it, it moves a little bit better, but it's got a nice blade on it. But I bought this for the bark lifter. And the problem is this bark lifter probably works really great for large, mature bark, but trying to do delicate stuff, it's kind of too small. So that's why this also has a bark lifter on it. But what still works the best is the old little tiny screwdriver, so there you go. And I was using a Milwaukee razor knife to graft, and that still works really good. You know, you just have different tools and you try or whatever. So, okay, so here, what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you, I want to show you a new grafting style. I guess this is probably called a veneer graft. I already did one to practice, but I'm going to show you another one. And I think this will prevent my grafts from failing, because I think I have an idea of why they failed. So let's come over here, and this is gonna be still like a T-bud style, and I just cleaned my knife, and I just cleaned my screwdriver. I have already practiced. I already put one on here. When I put it on, I write the variety, I write the date. I leave enough room so that if I want to lift this off of here, I can. I take all the other branches off, trim it all down. You want all of the good stuff, all of the sap and everything to go to your grafts, which is slightly problematic doing two on the same branch. I might have just talked myself out of that. Okay, so I'll show you what the end result looks like, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick a different spot. I'm gonna pick it, okay, so check this out. And this is gonna be like, so this is new growth. So this is green bark. I'm gonna go green bark to green bark, so this is gonna be a little bit another of an experiment. And so this will be easier for Matt to shoot too. So I'm going to cut a T, and this is gonna be way easier for me working overhead here. So when you cut your T, you wanna come far enough around so that when you go to lift the bark, you have plenty of room. If the top of your T isn't long enough, and now here y'all, you got to pay attention because you got a sharp knife. You want this line to be pretty straight. And you just take your time. This is why the art of grafting is so peaceful. So, okay, so I'm gonna start to lift my T, okay? I'm gonna put this tool away. I'm not going to lacerate myself. Okay, here's another thing I'm doing, y'all. And this might not even be true or work or anything, but I've already sprayed this thing with peroxide, but not like I said, I don't know if this works or this could be counterproductive or whatever, but just wipe it down with the leaf. This way I'm not putting my hands on it. Okay, so now I'm gonna lift this T. Okay. It's right here. I'm gonna lift this, right? And what you wanna do is you wanna create your space under here to slide your graft under, and see how you want to have enough T out here so you can get some real good spacing under here, and you'll see why when I go to do this. You just want to take it real easy. You don't want to rip, and you don't want to butcher this bark, because this is what's going to be. This is Miss Kim. I'm going to graft it to here. Okay, I'm going to leave the bottom there. I'm going to cut this top longer than I want it, and I'll show you why, because it's top longer than I want. Now here's the tricky part. You don't want, and this is why you want to leave the leaf on. You don't want to touch the back side of this, because that's how you're going to get disease on there. So the leaf gives you a little bit of a handle. I'm going to crack out the old grafting knife again. So you want to, this style, you can go a little bit deeper, y'all. Now once again, this is a really sharp knife, and trees are tricky and they can take off and slide, so you just want to take your time.
You can mess yourself up pretty quick.
Yeah, you can mess yourself up real quick. The thing about this style, in my opinion, is it's a little more forgiving. So you're gonna keep working your way down here. I used to just do this all the way in half, and I think I've done that on a video, but I'm gonna show you what I do now. So now I got that cut almost all the way down. Now I'm gonna cut in down here on an angle. And see, the thing with, if you just rock your knife and take your time, you're not gonna cut off any appendages. You're gonna get a better cut anyway. And this is the only tricky part. It's just because this wasn't, when I was coming down, it followed the grain.
Yep.
And it just kind of broke too, which isn't a problem, and I'll show you why. And y'all, you think I'm gonna cut myself, but I'm gonna do my best to not cut myself. And the funny thing is with all the grafting that I've done so far, I haven't cut myself yet. And it largely in part because you're just going really slow. You're not applying a lot of pressure or anything. There we go. Got a couple stragglers is what the problem is. And I just don't want to touch the back, to be super honest, is all. There we go. Now, okay, now here's the trick. So now what you want to do, why I think my grafts were failing, is because I was leaving this center in the back there, and it wasn't, but check this out, watch what you can do. We're grafting the bud right here, right? See, that's the bud. Check this out. You can, if you take your time and you don't drink too much coffee, you can get under this, right? You can get under here, right? Nice and slow. And this green, this is actually the cambium here. The green part of this bark is the only part that's alive. That center That's just for structural support. And this last one went really good and I was able to get it out. So let's see. And the only part that's really kind of adhered is right behind that bud. But if you do it right, you can lift. See, and that's right where it's just giving me a little bit of headache. So you want to get your bark lifter down there, right? Because I want to get all the way under this. And I almost got this off. The hardest part is just getting to this point where, see, it's starting to come out.
Oh yeah, check
and
that
now
out.
It's just the sticky spot is right where the bud is. So if I can get, so I'm just taking my time. Now I'm gonna just try to grab it. As long as I can keep that bud intact, I'm fine, y'all. If I yank too hard,
boom, it'll mess
okay, it just released, y'all. Watch. Boop. And look, the bud's in there. So watch. Look, the bud's still there.
Yep.
One thing else I learned, I want to try to clean this up. So when you slide it down in there, when you try to slide it down in there, if those are too long, it gets stuck and caught and all that stuff. Now, once again, this isn't helping with, now this ain't real good for like preventing the transfer of disease and all that stuff. So we'll see. I could be botching my whole experiment right now. Yeah. And the other great thing the leaf does is it makes this part very simple. Well, I'll put it this way, a lot easier. How's that? So you see how I started that?
Yeah.
You just want to use the whole dealio.
Check that out.
And the main thing that you're focusing on two things. My new bark, I want to get it behind my old bark. And then the last thing I want to do is I want to get that bud, I want to get this bud down below this line, because it feels like if I keep trying to push it, it's going to smash. And so I want to try to push down. I want to try to push down while I'm pulling on the, I want to push down on the top with my screwdriver while I'm kind of pulling down with my, okay. So I'm going to say that that's good enough. I'm going to hope that that's good enough. And I'm going to hope when I strike this across the top. So now you're going to see why I left this long. Because now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my grafting knife out for the last time. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go like this. I'm going to tee my deal again. These are both very green barks. And really, technically, I could probably, if I had to, I could leave this on and it'll just die. See, so there you go. All right, so now we got the veneer graft done. Now I'm gonna take my buddy tape. You can use parafilm or whatever. I'm gonna take my parafilm, and this is what's gonna hold in the moisture, to stop the moisture and the droplets. I always gotta say something. Why does he always have to say something? I'm keeping the moisture in. Now I use Liner's rubber splicing tape. Very expensive, yeah. You can use all different kinds of stuff. You can use electrical tape or whatever, and I have regular electrical tape, but this is like more spongy and super stretchy. Yeah, and that's what I've been using here, and it's been working good. And I mean, I've done probably 100 grafts, and I barely used like 1/4 of a roll. And then obviously what I do is I cut it in half, you know, so it's double. And it stretches so much, you only need like, look, what's that, 3 inches of, and that does your top and your bottom. And this will stretch to over 1 foot long. So now I'm going to do the triage, y'all, do the triage. Oh, pipe down. So there we go, y'all. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go 6, 25, and I'm gonna go. All right, y'all, so that's my new veneer graft. I'll update y'all on what that looks like. You can follow me on Instagram, and you'll see how all that works, and I'll update y'all. We'll probably update y'all on a video too. And so that is a new veneer graft that I'm trying. We're gonna lift the Tupperware grafts. This is my Tupperware tree. I'm gonna lift these off, and this is my Frankenberry. Okay, so I'm sorry. So one last thing I'm gonna do here. My focus on this branch is this graft. So I'm gonna cut the rest of the branch off. A flower for my lady. Yeah, so I have some more buds here that I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try another little, another type of graft and So that's what we're doing. All right.